to this program, and you'll agree with me that climate change is a problem that has affected many and many people, and that includes you, especially that the effects are felt everywhere. The world is looking for solutions, sustainable methods of ensuring that our planet is safe. But then there's this one approach in agriculture called regenerative agriculture that has proven to be one of the solutions towards climate mitigation. And in the studio here, I have colleagues, I have experts that are going to help me crack down this subject matter. On my immediate right here, and there's a gentleman, and I'd like him to introduce himself, and then I'll go to the next gentleman. Would like to tell the viewers your name and what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you, Chitenge. Yeah, so my name is Gabriel Asare. I'm a regenerative agronomist working with Soilcraft, and we are stationed here at Riverside trying to change the narrative of agriculture, because we believe in three things. When you feed the soil feeds the plants will give healthy vigor to people.
Great.
Yes, and very soon we'll be having a school of agriculture, which we're hoping to pass on this information to the grassroots.
Great. Yeah, the gentleman next, would you like to tell the viewers?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Jackson Kithokilo. I'm from East Africa, particularly Tanzania. And I'll say I am a profession in regen farming and also a small-scale farmer. What we deal with is production of food crops for more than 2,000 school kids. We train the community, and currently we're also running a vocational school of regenerative agriculture, or say like the first in East, and maybe it could be also Southern Africa.
Great.
We're offering a 3-year course on the same. And yes, this is me. I really appreciate to be here.
Great. Well, viewers, you can see for yourself. I have experts here to really help us to understand regenerative agriculture. Maybe in a nutshell, gentlemen, for the sake of the viewer that would like to know, what is regenerative agriculture in its simplest terms? You'd like to start, Jackson?
Yes, I will say in a very simple term that even, of course, back in Tanzania, South Africa, Alama, we say, regen farming is equal to healthy soil, healthy people, healthy planet.
Wow.
Why do I say this? The reason is very simple. It's a form of farming that focuses to restore soil. You cannot conserve dead soil, you can only regenerate it. And the other side is a question of climatic change and sustainability.
Exactly.
Regen farming answers this. There's aspects of food security. Regenerative farming is there. We have a biodiversity and the wildlife issues coming up. Regen farming is there. Regen farming is an holistic approach that will even talk on animals and how they need to be.
Wow.
So I feel regenerative farming is like a home, a very holistic approach to food security, to soil health, and healthy people and healthy planet, with judicious use of synthetic inputs.
Oh, fantastic. Already digging deep into the subject matter. Gabriel, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So the beauty about regenerative agriculture is that it's so individualized, because you are the one who is writing the story of what you are doing on your farm. So you're contextualizing and you're trying to troubleshoot and find solutions that work on your farm. That can be in your township, it can be in the country, the region. It spreads wide and trickles from large to small scale. So what I mean is, if you are trying to regenerate, you're trying to renew what was dead, like what he had mentioned. And at the end of the day, what we are trying to achieve is an ecosystem balance that's in the soil, the water, the plants, and ideally also making sure that even as we have all these three things that coexist amongst each other, there's the human being, you, the individual, who is being the steward of all these three things to bring the balance in all these things.
Great. Sounds good.
Just to add before we finalize on this, I'll say, what you said is practically true.
Yeah.
A villager will really need to understand what is this region. And I'll say regenerative farming is, from what you're speaking about, it looks at a farm as a living ecosystem that will have the person who is a villager, or myself, will have the animals, that is maybe cows, poultry, fish, birds, an habitat for all these people living organisms and the dead to coexist well. But eventually somebody will ask, under what principles? Principles such as mulching. The soil shall never be naked. Nature does not love naked soil. That is why if we had a primary school field where kids played and grass was totally removed, 1 month you don't go back to school, you find grass growing without not even planting it.
Exactly.
Because nature does not love naked soil. So it needs to be covered by cover crops, mulching, composting needs to be done, and a farm does not have a waste.
Okay.
It has a benefit in entirely what we see. And the weeds are opportunistic plants.
I like that, and I know we have to delve into all those details. I just wanted the viewers to really appreciate the simplest definition of regenerative agriculture. But then from what I see as a layman, I see that this is more or less like, these are concepts that help individuals to coexist with nature without damaging, without destroying nature. Maybe my question is this a new concept that has come as a result of climate change? Or maybe it's a concept that has been there in the past, but then it's something that has not been packaged so well as to, attract the much needed benefit in society today vis-a-vis climate mitigation. Who would like you to start?
Sure, I can dig in. So if you look at the world today, we have become so impatient because we want everything now. We want to focus on what we'll get now instead of focusing on the short, medium, long term. So it has really affected the way we plan things. So at the end of the day, when you come back to agriculture, what you're going to see is that many people are much more focused on how soon am I going to get this crop? How soon am I going to get this yield? So I can make
profit oriented.
It's profit oriented. It's focused much more on the yield. You're not caring about the ecosystem. So the aspect of stewardship is out of the picture. So if you trickle it down from biblical times up until where we are, there's evidence showing that regenerative agriculture has been practiced right from the Garden of Eden up to the time of Babylon. We have the floating gardens.
I've heard of the hanging gardens.
Yes. The hanging gardens. Sorry. Yes, and then also during the Dark Ages, we had the Waldensians that also practiced farming on the mountain, managing ecosystems there even during the toughest times. So this is not something that is new. It's something that has been there time of old, but with time and nature always reminding us that, look, I need help here. Exactly. So it needs you to really have an eye of a steward. A steward is somebody that cares and somebody who will pay attention to what's out there. So it needs you to have good analytical skills.
Exactly.
Being able to understand what's happening to your soil. Like what he had mentioned, yes, plants are, we have plants that are so opportunistic because they just spread out there and they're like, imagine like what you would normally see with the kids in the park. I mean, you'd see so much activities going on. It doesn't matter whether the kid is from that neighborhood or that neighborhood. What brings them together is the love. At the end of the day, if you're a steward that cares, you need to be able to look out and observe. And then nature has a way of just teaching you once you have got the way of seeing things clearly.
Great. Would you like to add something, Jackson?
Yes, I'll be very happy to. And I like his approach to biblical principles.
Exactly.
Somebody will ask, what is the God's way of farming? I'll tell you is regenerative agriculture.
Wow.
Regenerative agriculture is farming in God's way or God's design. I had a walk in River Cafe a couple of days back.
In your experience
experiences from here. And I saw women or people farming near the river.
Wow.
Some of them are cutting down trees so that they'll get an opportunity to make live fences to block animals to get on their farms.
Exactly.
And they're also using the water to plant crops. And some of them are kind of developing floating or hanging gardens. Now, hanging gardens is something that has been done for years in countries like in Mesoamerica, Mexico, Brazil, Bangladesh, and so forth. And even I believe in Africa, like if you move in Nigeria, you'll have an opportunity to see this. In River Kafue, among those things I'm saying is, instead of cutting down trees, what trees can exist in the plants you're planting?
Wow.
It's a living ecosystem. So this is the aspect of bringing, and then we don't need to see immediately on the other shore of the river looking dry and that. It needs to look more green, what we bring there.
Wow.
Maybe fruit trees, wild fruit trees, and so forth. So this is not something from a concept, a theoretical concept being brought here. It's a practical approach to to food security, to human health, to the questions of climatic change from what has been done over the years. And there's a lot of indigenous knowledge, indigenous practices that we are bringing on top here on the table and bring them today in a scientific modification. How? I'll give you an example. If you move to Sahel Desert, one of the ways they do water conservation is making zipits and half moons. And these half moons is a way to even plant trees in dry areas there. If I'm not wrong, is it Senegal or Botswana, there's a man named the Village Fool who was awarded by United Nations scientists for stopping a desert that had even defeated them. How did he do?
Wow.
It's the man we speak about zipis from.
Wow.
He was digging small holes in that desert, picking seeds of those trees, putting them down there, putting manure, and when it rained, the trees came up. The place got regenerated completely.
Wow.
If a villager who is regarded by many people a village fool, doesn't understand English, his own local language, you do this. This is what we are picking and looking in the concept of food security. What can we do? That's just an example. But there are many and many ideologies, even in Zambian context, I'll promise you. Like in Mesoamerica, they'll have the three sisters and one ugly brother. They'll plant maize, beans, and pumpkins. Pumpkins is a cover crop. It will suppress the weeds. Maize will grow tall and offer support for the beans to climb, and at the same time provide nitrogen to the maize. And now fish waste will be put inside the hole where these three are planted. Why? It has got amino acids.
While coexisting with nature. Well, dear viewers, we're going on a break. We'll come back soon as we continue to delve into this subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, dear viewers, welcome to this discussion on regenerative agriculture, and a lot has been said already. But then, gentlemen, I want us to go into the main features or components of regenerative agriculture. What is it that is so interesting, which people really, when they dig in, they'll be able to say, fine, this is what I find in this concept. These are the features that I can actually be able to get access to. Would you want to elaborate? I know in our previous discussion behind the scene, we were talking about companion planting, talking about bees as pollinators. We're talking about weeds. I think what was interesting actually was that weeds, we call them weeds because we don't like them. But I think you mentioned something like we can coexist with weeds, because they bring quite a lot of benefits to the farmer and herself. Would like to enter? I mean,
sure.
would like to say something on that?
Yes, sure. Just wanted to talk about weeds being opportunistic plants. Just like today, we went around scouting on the banana plantations, and sometimes just to be more practical, let's say you're a banana farmer, or maybe a tomato farmer, or you're a farmer of different varieties of crops per se. Weeds have a way of speaking to you to know what the condition of your soil is like. It tells you what your soil is lacking. It gives you much information about certain things that you may have missed about your soil. Because one thing that we normally find in conventional agriculture is that, and actually it's something which is normally missed. It's not intentional, but of course with time, when people get to understand and appreciate regenerative agriculture, you understand that if you see weeds as imagine a traffic light. I mean, like, it tells you red, stop, green, go, yellow, get ready. Like, I'll give an example. We have the blackjack. The blackjack will tell you that, hey, this soil lacks calcium.
Wow.
We have many plants. I mean, like apart from it being a weed, it's also vegetables. So there are certain weeds that can also be used to give food to the farmer, but at the same time help you to understand your soil. Go with companion planting. You're going to, of course, many of you know Abel Hangoma, the organic farmer, talks so much about comfrey. Like comfrey is one plant that helps you with your calcium. You can plant your pumpkins. That will help you, of course, with your phosphorus. And also, you can plant your beans. That will also, like talk of the mukuna beans, the jack beans. Yeah. Surprisingly, I was on Facebook and I saw that Zambians are actually growing mukuna beans, which is nice to hear that we have people actually knowing that you can grow beans but do not know what to do with it.
Exactly.
You can actually companion plant them with other crops that may love nitrogen.
Yeah.
So like, I'll give you an example. We recently did trials with tomatoes and we found out that, wow, you can actually grow tomatoes with onions, lettuce, and you're getting so much in a small space that, you know, at the end of the day, there's no room for these weeds to show up because you're paying attention to the nutrient deficiencies.
Exactly.
So once you address those through your companion planting and then you're supplementing, of course, with your biofertilizers, whether you have your fish, the water hyacinth, like he has mentioned, you just need to be able to balance up the nutrients. So a farmer needs a chart to give you the short-term, medium-term, long-term goals for your soil, the crop nutrition, and I'll pass it on to Jackson to
exactly. So thank you very much. Jackson, he talked about weeds being, you know, man's friend. When we see them, we look at them as enemies. Then how do these weeds, maybe you want to add on to what he was saying, vis-a-vis us wanting to spray them and get rid of them, and how do we manage them if they're helpful to us as farmers?
I will say that he has spoken quite a lot and so much extensive on that.
Yeah.
But just to add, weeds are supposed to be friends, and we call them opportunistic plants. They have the opportunity to talk to us.
Wow.
Like he added, and we'll extend and say, they'll also tell us about nature. What is the season? What about the weather that is there?
Wow.
And they will speak to us about sustainability.
Wow.
The Bible says, to those who have eyes, let them see. To those who have ears, let them hear. And of course, I will say, to those who have brains, let them comprehend, think, and see the future.
Exactly.
So they present an opportunity for you to see the future from their perspective. If you treat them as opportunistic plants, you will see that. If you treat them as an enemy, then you entirely miss the goal of nature. The goal of nature is peaceful coexistence and looking at the farm as a living ecosystem, not a dead ecosystem or an enmity.
Just there, Jackson, we know that weeds compete for nutrients with our plants. If we are to coexist with the weeds or with them, how do we manage them? Without them getting the nutrients that our plants, you know, benefit from the soil.
Beenzu, you are a reader of Bible. How do you think Garden of Eden was with all the plants? Were they densely populated or very sporadic and very far? In God's design of what we get presented of Garden of Eden is a garden which is densely populated. Today, if we have a walk to the forest here, how does it look? Different plants coexisting, same other. It's an ideology mistakenly given to us, and we believed over the years that weeds or opportunistic plants compete with the other. No, not at all. They speak to us about the soil, they speak to us about nature, they speak to us whatever we need to do right, and we have the opportunity to do it. For example, if he spoke of calcium deficiency being associated with blackjack, if you grow a lot of comfrey, blackjack disappears. Why? Blackjack
calcium must
roots will bring the calcium on top, and this one will disappear. If you see tawa, which we view it as a weed, and another name called asthma plant, it's a plant that has been used for years to treat lung-related problems. So one, it's good for your health, and I've used it for like more than 10 years. On the other side, it tells you your soil is not compactable. If you have your soil compactable in the right approach of cover crops, like with pumpkins, with mukuna beans, jack beans, sweet potatoes, tawa disappears.
Wow.
So if you have the flare bean, the flare ban,
the flare ban,
the flare ban plant, like I saw in this Riverside farm, it's quite a lot. It's also telling you about the soil. You know, it's telling you about the soil structure.
Wow.
It's not nice. Make it better and I will go. I will find where to relocate to.
Wow.
So weeds are not weeds. They're opportunistic and they don't compete. It's a management problem that goes to us, not to the weeds.
Wow.
Now, just to add on the aspect of companion planting, you know, we spoke on Three Sisters and AGRI brother, that is fish waste. But that farmer who is growing vegetable wants to reduce the use of pesticides and fertilizers, and or else it doesn't have money to buy these synthetic inputs. What did you do? I'll give an example. You have collards, that the kales.
Yes.
Then you've got something, the local sweet potatoes, what we eat. You have got okra, maybe you've got marigold and a couple of other plants. Now, what you do is a selection of what repels the insects that attack, maybe, for example, tomatoes. Marigold does so nice, and it will bring beneficial wasp, host them, and just the beneficial wasp will also eat the eggs of Tuta absoluta and the eggs of Tuta absoluta succession die.
Wow.
This is the concept you're talking about. But if that is the companion system you're bringing, bees will come. They'll do the pollination. Birds will be invited to take the nectar, and of course others will come and eat the insects disturbs you. So in that simplest system, you can do companion farming and feed your family with food with less chemicals. So much natural.
Wow.
And the life becomes better.
This is very interesting, gentlemen, because I think what I see here most of the times probably is lack of knowledge. Because of limited knowledge, you'd find that people just go straight away and, you know, have no time to think about what surrounds the crops and whatnot. So I think this comes with education. Now, what do you think about the mindset of farmers, mindset of communities with regards this regenerative farming? How difficult is it, or how easy is it to pump the sense of regenerative farming in the minds of farmers today who are in a hurry, like you mentioned, to make profits without really caring about Mother Nature? Would you like to comment on that? I think we are running out of time, in a nutshell, and then I'll come to Jackson.
That? I didn't get the question.
Yes, I was talking about the issue of mindset.
Mindset.
Maybe I could just answer it very quick, then I guess Robert from there. I will answer you in a very simple way. Like, how did people view when they had Jesus Christ, son of Joseph the carpenter, was the Messiah? That was like, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Their mind was so put it in 7 days in water to ferment, then spray your plant, you'll increase the growth by 70 or 100%. And you're like, this water hasn't been with it for this many years? That simplicity is the big impact on mindset. Now, the good things is in its results. You change people by what they see, not only by what they hear. People are tired of theories on stories. People want to see, in this information of era of knowledge, data, and information, they want to see facts and figures. Let them take, spray, see the growth. They'll go for that. So we speak about it, but the results are very nice for everybody to join the wagon. That's what I'll say.
Great.
Yeah, just to add on, another aspect is coming back to education from the home, the schools. We have been brainwashed into thinking that, first of all, agriculture is very complicated. It needs this type of mindset of seeing things like if you want to grow something healthy, you are going to need to spray as much pesticides as possible so that your yield goes high. But the question I'll ask you is this: when you are sick and you have a headache, is it that you are lacking paracetamol in your system, or that your body is lacking something that's causing the headache?
So that's the result. There's something wrong within.
Exactly. And then another example I'll give you that John Kempf always talks about is plants out there that you are growing in your field are not lacking pesticides. They are lacking nutrition. They are lacking proper management. They are lacking so many important tools and management techniques that are used in regenerative agriculture.
So we just want to deal with this, the results, and not really go deep into the actual problems.
Exactly.
Now, lastly but not the least, gentlemen, in this on this panel, here is a villager who says, well, there's climate change. I don't care about climate change. I live in the village. Here is a person in town who says, look, I live in town. I don't have a place to do my farming. But the question that I have maybe for each one of you is that, of what benefit to that farmer in the village? Of what benefit? Yes, we know there's climate change, mitigation. We all must work together towards that. But then what is in it for me in regenerative agriculture? And is there any hope that, is there for a farmer in the city who is just exposed to industry and all that to punctuate their daily activities with principles of regenerative farming? I'll start with you, Jackson.
Yes, thank you for starting with me, and understand time is really going. So in 1 minute, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to eat healthy food?
Yeah.
Right now, research is confirming cows or cattle produced in regenerative grazed-well farms. The meat has got high nutrients than the other meat of cows done in conventional farming. So what benefit does it have? One is that you'll eat food with higher percentage of nutrients that benefit your body.
Yeah.
On the second part, we are promoting more of the indigenous seeds that are resilient to nature and have got quite good phytonutrients, meaning you eat healthy food and you become so strong. But just on the other part of your question is, like, how does it really benefit me? It's, even if climatic change it is, and you're growing trees, you're having this way, who does not love a place that is green? The Bible puts a context at one time when Jesus had to go with the disciples on top of mountain to pray. Why? Jesus was looking at the aspect of soul regeneration, the spirit to regenerate. That climate on top of a mountain, just imagine with trees, very good breeze, that's the same thing entirely. We are looking in context of that farmer in a dry land.
Wow.
Then to extend further is to say that, look, people in urban design can do this. I was very happy on Monday. I think we had an opportunity to visit Bujana in Minudindeke, on the other side of Lusaka, just 5 minutes to Kenneth
Konda International Airport. Yeah.
She is doing syntropic agroforestry.
Wow.
Mixing everything in a very small plot of half an acre.
Wow.
In that she has goats, she has poultry, she's getting organic eggs, she has got pinches, there is apple, there is lemongrass, vegetables, and she has the opportunity to sell outside. This is exactly even what an urban farmer needs.
Wow.
And breathing in quality, nice oxygen.
Great. Sounds great. Gabriel?
Yeah, just to add on to the hope of people who are living in the urban areas, no place is too small for you to be productive. That's the first point.
Yeah.
Secondly, once you understand what exactly you are doing with the soil, once you understand what the soil needs, and once you understand what is needed to get the best yield, at the same time feeding your soil, so that the soil feeds your plants, that will resist the the disease and the pest pressure. What's going to happen is that you're going to have nutrient-dense food, which is going to be food and also medicine, just as Hippocrates has said. And even for those who are so much into landscape and gardening, yes, you can incorporate flowers and your vegetables and crops and a diverse of so many things without even getting from the other. And then also for those who may be wondering, because in the cities, of course, another thing I've noticed is the air pollution, because people are keeping so many hens and the methane is just off the charts.
Yeah.
But if you notice, Jackson, the poultry house, the goat pen was not smelling at all, because there's always a regenerative way to control the amount of ammonia and the pollution that you experience in the urban spaces. So for those who may be thinking that this is just rocket science and stuff, there's evidence just here in Lusaka that people are actually practicing this and putting it in their local context.
Well, dear viewers, you've heard for yourselves this topic of regenerative agriculture. This approach is much needed, even much more urgently in Zambia, in Africa, and throughout the world. I think my takeaway point is, education, information dissemination. And this is the more reason why Riverside Farm Institute actually is earmarking to bringing this course right to your doorstep. So look out for this course, Regenerative Agriculture, at Riverside Farm Institute, to give you more insights and information about the benefits of regenerative agriculture. Until we meet next time, God bless you and stay tuned.